Most content creators use one type of content and wonder why half their audience isn't connecting. Here's the four system that fixes that. So, okay, welcome back and thank you for attending. Today we're going to cover the part 6 of the content clarity framework. So, if you're watching this later, that's fine. I'm glad you found it because everything we're covering today might be the best part of the content clarity framework. And it's going to change, hopefully it's going to change how you appear online. So this again is part 6 of the content clarity framework. And if you've been following along, you already have, depending on how many steps you have in your framework, around 46 pieces of content that you've already created. It's already mapped out, already ready to go. But here's the problem I hear all the time. I have all this content mapped out, but I keep creating the same type of video over and over. And some people are watching, but a lot of people aren't connecting, and I don't know why. Does that sound familiar to anyone? Drop a yes in the comments if you felt that way. Even if you're watching this as a replay, drop a yes in the comments right now. Interact as if you were here live. I do read all the comments. Have you ever posted something that you were really proud of and you couldn't wait for everybody to see it, but it got almost no engagement? I know that's happened to me. Drop yes in the comments below if that's ever happened to you. And realize that you're not alone. This has happened to everybody. So here's what's happening. When we create content, we naturally create the style that works best for us, the style that we prefer. So we all absorb content differently. We learn differently. And that's what today's training is all about. Like if you're a numbers person, you're probably going to want videos that tend to lead with stats and data. Or you may like storytelling and you lead to those videos that have stories in it. Or if you're a doer, you go straight to the how-to videos. But everyone in your audience is not going to learn the same way. We all get things differently. Like I have 2 avatars. Marcus is up at 11 p.m. running numbers and searching for answers. But Mary, my female avatar, she's scrolling on Saturday mornings looking for inspiration. So the inspiration videos is going to land with Mary, but it's not going to land with Marcus. The numbers and show proof videos are going to land with Marcus, but Mary's not going to be interested in those. See where we're going with this? So if you're only speaking one language, you're only going to attract one type of person out of the 4A. But the 4A's fixes this all. Now, if you haven't received the Content Clarity Framework yet, drop me a line below and I'll send you the framework so you can complete this as we go along in this video. There's no pitch, there's no phone to complete, no email to enter, just the tool itself. So drop me a line and I'll send it over to you. So real quick, before we get started with today's teaching, I want to do a recap of what we've covered so far. Because if someone is watching this for the first time, I want them to be able to follow along. So in part 1, we figured out who we serve. That's what type of membership we're going to build and what transformation we're going to give the members that join that membership. That alone gave us around 7 pieces of content. Then part 2, we mapped out all the steps that we're going to take each member through in order to achieve that transformation. This is the exact system that we're going to walk those members through. And depending on the number of systems that you have, the number of goals and steps that you have in your framework, remember everybody's going to be different, you should have around 39 pieces of content here. Part 3 and 4, we went deep into the audience's objections. That's time, money, effort, and sacrifice. And then we went deeper than that and we covered the false beliefs that are underneath those objections. And we talked about every single objection is a piece of content waiting to be recorded. And now part 5 is what we did last week. That is the one big story. We wrote the brand movie script. This is off of the Story Brand Framework from Donald Miller, the book that I read. It's got 7 steps to completing the story. This is the foundation that you're going to use under every future ad, every email, and every piece of content moving forward. So if you missed any of those, go back and watch those in order because everything builds on the previous one. So feel free to keep watching this one, but once you finish, go back and get the content clarity framework and then complete each one as you're watching the videos. So which part have you completed so far? Or are you still working on some of it? Drop a number in the comments. I want to know where we're standing and how many are actually following along, because you're going to get far more out of this if you do it with me versus just watching it. So, okay, today's is part 6 of the Content Clarity Framework. This is all about the 4 A's. Now, I've got to be honest here, and I've got to tell you that I learned this from my mentor, Laurel Portier. So I've got to give credit where credit is due. She developed this or she taught me about it. I'm not sure if she actually developed it, but she taught me this, and it's easy to understand, and it really makes sense, and it really is going to change the way you create content in the future if you understand the 4 A's and how everyone's different and everyone learns at a different pace. So here's what's important. Your audience is made up of 4 different types of people. And each one of those connects with 4 different kinds of content. That means you don't need to work 4 times as hard. It actually reduced my workload because I no longer have to stare at a blank screen wondering what to record. It means when you already have a content idea, you have 4 different versions that you can record of that same idea. You just need to say, okay, which one of the 4 A's am I going to cover today? And then you need to make sure that over the course of the next few weeks or the next month that you cover the other 3 A's so that you're reaching all of your possible audience. So before I go through the 4 A's, I want to know, when you yourself are scrolling, what type of content causes you to stop? Have you ever paid attention to it? Is it story? Is it the ones with stats? Is it the how-tos? Or something that makes you think, about how people do what they do? For me, it's hands down I like stories. I also like the why people do what they do. Really big into that. And the how-to videos. I think that for me, it's probably the how-to and why people do what they do. That's probably neck and neck for me. So drop a comment. I want to know what causes you to stop a scroll. So what are these 4 A's? Well, the first one, A number 1, is analytical. These are the ones that speaks to the numbers. So the people in your audience who need the proof, maybe they need to know exactly what the results were before they're going to trust you with anything. This is like for Marcus. He's up at 11 p.m. running the math numbers, wondering whether or not he should drop the price on that flip. He's not looking for a story. He's not looking for evidence. Analytical content shows the numbers, which is what Marcus needs. If it's data, stats, milestones, or benchmarks, things that can be verified. Basically, it's the things that show the proof, to show that it works, not just a feeling. For example of an analytical content, let me tell you, it's like the 46 pieces of content, what that looks like when you've mapped out just 2 goals of your content clarity framework. That's a number. That's specific. Or the $5 a day Facebook ads and the results that it produces in a 90-day period. That's data, and that's the true thing shown. That's analytical. The analytical person doesn't need to like you first. They need to believe you first. So you're going to have to lead with the data for an analytical person. Now I'm doing something different today. I'm going to slow down right here so you can take time to fill in your content clarity framework or just get an idea. You don't have to write down the entire script of what you're going to say. Just think about your membership topic right now. What is one number, one stat, one result, one data point that you could share that would build credibility? It doesn't have to be fancy. It can be something simple. I've done X number of flips, and here's the one thing that I wish I had known before I did the first one. So write down whatever analytical idea you have that's going to help your audience resonate with you, and it's going to build trust. Take a second right now to just jot down a brief idea, something that's going to spark your memory when you come back to this, and you're going to be able to fill this in. So that completes the first A. Now, second A is aspirational. This is the storytellers. So this is the second one. And it's for the people in your audience that need to know what's possible before they're going to believe you, before they're going to realize that it's possible for them. It's the aspirational stories. It paints a picture. It tells the audience. It takes the audience somewhere. This is the Tuesday morning story that I discussed in part 5 of the training, where Marcus he woke up to check his phone, not to see if the house sold, but to see how many new members he had in his membership overnight. And the fact that his wife finally looked at him over dinner and said, I really think this is going to work. That's an aspirational story. It makes someone feel like success, makes them see what it looks like, and it makes them put themselves in that position. So they don't just understand it intellectually. They get a feeling about it. So the origin story that we wrote last week, that's aspirational content. The story that I told you about David, how his first flip went sideways and he will never flip again, and it was a cautionary tale trying to talk me out of flipping a house. That's also an aspirational story. It shows what's at stake. You can also use members' wins in your community. That's also aspirational content. And here's what's important about this one. It doesn't have to be your story. Like I just said, it can be someone that reached a milestone in your membership. Now, you want to get permission from them to share it, but those stories can have more impact on your audience than anything that you could possibly teach. People don't buy when they understand. They buy when they can imagine themselves doing it. The old thing, they got to know, will this work for me? Yes, they believe it's working for me. They see it. They see the proof. But they got to know in their head, am I going to be able to do it? And will it work for me? Stories help get you there. So tell me, is there a moment in your flipping journey or in your life that you've never shared before? Maybe you've never shared it publicly, but that your audience would connect with. Now, you don't have to share it now. Just think about it. This might be your most powerful aspirational piece of content. So now it's time to jot down what your aspirational story is for A number 2. So what is one story that you can come up with from your own journey or from someone that you know? Someone else's journey. What's one story that you can show the before and after that would teach? One win, or maybe one failure, or a turning point. It's a moment that things changed so that people can see what happened. So write down your aspirational idea right now. Just jot down a topic, a hint, a word you're going to be able to pick it up later and know exactly what you're talking about so you don't forget where you are. So now you have 2 pieces of content. You've covered 2 A's. So the third A is actionable. And this one is probably what most of us relate with, because it seems to be the default type. Most people when they're creating content, they just naturally do actionable. Can you tell this is live? Yes, I live in a kennel. Dixie! Ash! Hey! I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. I don't know if someone pulled up. I don't know what happened. Hush! I can't see anybody. Okay, actionable. Molly! Jeez. Okay. Yeah, someone did pull up. I'm gonna have to. Okay. I actually went and took care of that. Somebody wanting to rent property, and I don't have anything. Well, I have something to Albemarle, but it's too much for her. So anyway, see, I have all kinds of irons in the fire. I have rental property, I have flip houses, I have a full-time job, and I'm doing this membership thing online. So that shows that this is possible to do with a busy schedule. So now we're to the actionable part. This is the third A. And then, like I said, this is the default that people mostly go to because it's what 90% of the videos you see online are about, the how-to videos. It teaches someone how to do something, a specific thing. It's a step-by-step, like it's a walkthrough. So you're showing them, okay, here's how to build a deck on your back porch. And then you do all the steps, show all the materials you got to have, all the tools you got to have, and then exactly what you need to do first, just step by step to complete the task. That's the how-to videos. That's what most of us are familiar with. And that's what this entire series of the Content Clarity Framework has been. This entire training has been on the third A, actionable. Every single week I've been showing you one thing that you can do to build your membership. So it's also when you pick up a phone on a job site and you record what just happened with the contractor. You're telling them what the problem was, how you handled it, and what the next step looked like. That's an actionable content. You're showing someone exactly what to do in a situation and what they're going to face. The key with actionable content is that someone should be able to do something differently after they watch your content. So if they watch your content and their behavior stays the same, it wasn't actionable enough. So actionable content is you build trust faster with actionable content because you're giving value before you're asking anything. So activity 3, I want you to list right now what idea do you have about this type of topic. What is one specific thing that you could record tomorrow or today that would teach someone how to do something in your method, relating to your membership. So relating to flipping houses or building a membership, whatever your membership is about. What is one thing that you could use right now that would teach someone step by step in a short video? It doesn't have to be complicated. It needs to be simple and specific. That beats complex and general every time. So take a second right now to jot down a few notes about what your actionable content idea would be. And then we're going to move to the last, A. The last A is anthropological. Now this is when you get into, this actually my personal favorite. This is why people do what they do. Anyone that knows me knows that I record a lot of content about our behavior and exactly why we do the things that we do. I'm trying to do it, trying to be positive, trying to teach people how to stay in control of their lives and how to continue to progress and stay upbeat and how to take your power back. So anthropological content explains why people do what they do. It's the psychology behind our behavior. So remember in part 4 when I talked about false beliefs, we talked about that you first have an experience and that experience creates an emotion, and then we create stories from that emotion, and then that story becomes our belief. And then everything that we do in the future is based off of those beliefs, whether it was right or wrong. We've created a belief, and everything that we do is judged off of that. So that whole teaching was anthropological content. I was telling you why you do what you do. Any type of content, and that type of content stops people in their tracks because it makes them feel seen. in a way that other content never can. So for house flippers, anthropological concern might look like, here's why most flippers wait too long to make a price decision. And it's nothing to do with the market. Or it could be, here's the psychology behind why we're more afraid of losing than we are more excited about winning. That's a whole tangent I could go on right now. It's hard for me not to break in to a tangent right now, but I'm gonna stay on track here and follow my notes. So you're explaining the behavior that your audience already has, and you're explaining it in a language that they are going to understand. So for those, now I was just going to repeat, my notes just popped up about the content about that I record, motivational reels. It's on human behavior, and it's meant to motivate people and to keep you positive and to keep your power. So when someone reads your anthropological content and says, oh my goodness, that is exactly me, you've just become the person who understands them. And people follow people who understand them. Here's an anthropological question for you right now. What is one thing you see house flippers do over and over that you know is hurting them, but you can completely understand why they keep doing it? So drop a comment in the comments right now and let me know what you've noticed other house flippers doing that they should stop, but explain why they can't, why they continue to keep doing it. I genuinely want to hear. I want us to engage with one another. This is going to be a so much stronger group. If you start commenting, you're going to get far more out of this, and then I can comment back. I do read every comment. So now it's time for you to fill in activity 4, the 4th A. Think about your audience, the flippers, the investors, the people that you want to help. What is one behavior or one belief or one pattern that you see in them that you can explain? Why do they do it? What experience or belief is behind it? So take a minute right now to write your anthropological idea. So now if you've taken every minute, you should have 4 ideas already mapped out that you can use. This is 4 pieces of content that you could record right now as soon as you finish watching this video. And you haven't had to come up with a single new topic. You used what you already knew. And here's what I want you to see about rotating through the A's. You don't have to do one each week, but you do need to make sure over time you do cover all 4 contents. So you need to keep track of which A you've covered. So if you're creating actionable content, that's going to reach the doers. If you're only creating aspirational content, that's going to reach the skeptics who need proof. The easiest way that I've found to do this is just to mark down which A you're doing. I actually have a list of hooks that I've created, and it's a hook for each one of the A's, and then as I pick one, I highlight it, pull it in AI to help me create the content, and then I change the color of that content from black to red, so I know that I've recorded that specific A. It's an easy way to keep up with it. And that's it. You don't need to make this complicated. You just need to be aware of which voice you're using and make sure that you're living in all 4 of them. So here's something I want you to really hear. You can take the exact same topic and create all 4 pieces of content from it. Now that is extremely important. I'm going to say that again. You can take one topic, one piece of content, one idea, and you can create 4 pieces of content out of that one idea. Let me show you. So let's say your one topic is contractor delays. So how to make it anthropological. Here's how much 2 months, wait, here's how much a 2 month contractor delay cost me on the first flip. The exact numbers breakdown. Remember, analytical is the numbers. Show me the numbers. So then, again, you're still doing contractor delays. Now you're doing an aspirational. The day my cabinet maker told me the job was delayed 2 months when the money was already tight, and what happened next. That's covering story. So now you've got analytical, which is covering numbers, and you've got aspirational, you've covered the stories, all with the same idea of contractor delays. So then the third one is actionable. And that one is, here's exactly what I did when my contractor delayed the job by 3 months and what I'll do differently next time. And then the last one is anthropological, why we do what we do. Here's why most flippers freeze when a contractor goes silent and what that fear is actually telling you. So see, that's one piece of content that turned into 4. Now you see how every piece of content that what do we have, 39? So it's 39 times 4 now. Huge numbers of content can be created from the exact same piece. 4 completely different pieces of content reaching 4 different types of people that you serve. So like I said earlier, the people that need the numbers, they're most likely not going to watch your video on the stories. People that need the stories are not going to watch the how-to. The how-tos, they're not going to watch the anthropological, so on and so forth. So just because you've recorded 4 videos on the exact same topic doesn't mean the same person's going to watch all 4 videos. So take one topic that you've mapped out of your activity through the activities through 1 and 2 so far, and tell me which of the A's comes most naturally to you. Drop me a line below and tell me right now which one comes more naturally to you. I think for me it's still the how-to and the anthropological. And which one do you think that you try to avoid? I think I avoid the analytical more than any of the others. Drop me a line, let me know which one you avoid the most. So here's your homework for the next week's training. Step 1, if you haven't done it yet, complete the 4 activities in today's training. You should have 4 content ideas written down before you close this video. If you haven't, pause it or go back and watch it again. And when I say stop and write this down, stop the video, take as long as you need to come up with your idea and write it down so that by the end you'll have 4 pieces of content. There is power in doing this, not just watching it. Step 2 is look at the last 5 pieces of content that you have posted or recorded and write down which A did you use for each one. Were you living in just 1 or 2 of the A's? That's probably where I do. Like I said, I tend to do how-to far more than any of the others, and then I tend to lean towards anthropological. And storytelling fits in a little bit for me too. So step 3 is I want you to share what 4 content ideas in the Flip and Build community and tag me in your post because I want to read it. Tell me which A it is, and I want you to write every single one. And I want the rest of the group to see your ideas too, because we learn from each other in this group. And you're going to go a lot further if you're sharing your content. So drop me a line and I'll send over the content clarity framework template so you can fill in your content clarity framework as well. There's no pitch, there's no funnel to complete, no email to give me, just the tool itself. So drop me a line, I'll be happy to send that over, and then you can get busy doing your 4 A's. And I also want to say before I go that I am so proud of the work that we're doing in this group. We're building something real. Not just content for the sake of content, but a system that serves your audience. Building your membership and gives you the possibility of income stream that doesn't depend on whether the house sells or not. Actually, whether the house closes or not. As you've learned from me, it can sell and they can back out. At no fault of yours, they can back out. So that truly does matter. And thank you for showing up week after week. And thank you for continuing to watch these videos. And here's my last question of the day. And I genuinely want to hear from you. What is the one thing that you want your membership to give that your current flippers income doesn't? That your current flipping income doesn't. So what's the one thing that you want your membership to give you that your current flipping income does not? Is it stability? Is it time? Maybe it's legacy. Maybe it's something else. Drop me a line below. I truly want to know this. So come back next week because we're going to cover part 7. This is the last step of the content clarity framework. And that one is going to bring everything together in a way that I think is going to surprise you. So I can't wait to see you next week. And so you can complete your content clarity framework. Thank you so much for being here. I'll see you next week.